Hello, this is Princess Guardian, and today we're going to be talking about the ultimate waifu simulator, Princess Connect. So when I first saw this game in the App Store, I had a couple initial thoughts. My first thought was that I love magical girls, I love anime, and I love gacha style games. I don't love that whole gambling aspect of it, so maybe it's not the gacha component I should focus on, but I do love monster collecting, character collecting, that sort of aspect of it. So this just seemed like a game that I would really enjoy. And I'm just gonna tell you that I was very wrong. I'm probably going to offend a lot of people who love this game. It has great reviews both on YouTube and on the App Store. This seems to be a game that has a community that loves it. And if you're one of those people, then rock on, you do you. I can definitely see aspects of this game that are worth enjoying, but you're also going to hear some feedback from me that maybe you won't like and that maybe you won't agree with, because this game was very much not for me. First and foremost, this game is a waifu collector, and any other mechanics that are present in it very much take the back seat to that point. So if you want a harem style game where you get a bunch of cute princesses who will dote all over you and that's what you're looking for in a game, then this will be an awesome one for you. For me, I kind of felt degraded and demeaned by it. I felt like the fan service was too over the top. I felt like there was no contextual reason for these girls to be swooning all over Yuki the way that they were. It was very much just not an enjoyable aspect of the game for me. Right away, you're pigeonholed into making your main character Yuki, which is this generic anime boy that they have. I don't see any reason for that. What is ideal to me in a game is when you have the option to make your own main character. For example, in Lord of Heroes, in the very beginning, you get to select not only whether your character is male or female, but you also get to select a few basic presets as far as hair color and some other options go. I thought that that was a really cool way to do it. But if you're not going to do that, that's totally fine. You have games like Summoner Wars, where you are kind of this disembodied spirit. You're a summoner that is kind of abstractly outside of the game. It's a little bit meta in a way, but it also kind of lets you build your own headcanon of, this is who my character is, I'm a summoner, these are the decisions that I'm making, and in this game, you don't even get that. And honestly, that's okay in some games too, especially in a lot of JRPGs. They give you a set group of characters. You're not making your own characters, but for the story that matters, because there's a story to be told here. I don't think that Yuki has a story to be told. He is so generic. He doesn't speak. He doesn't do anything special. He is literally just there as a beta male self-insert so that these princesses have somebody to swoon over. And it really just doesn't even make sense to me. However, none of that is the criteria that we are using to judge these games, at least not fully on. So I do kind of want to jump into some of those points. So for music, I'm going to give the game a 3 out of 5. There was nothing particularly outstanding in any of the tracks that I noticed, not even one or two. It has a very generic intro song, very generic background music, kind of everything in this game, not just music, but even character art and stuff, really does feel like something they pulled out of Cygames, stock images, stock sounds, whatever else that they already had on hand, and mashed it into a game. And the overall game does actually have a little more polish than this. The crown came off. That's okay though. It was a bit, maybe it worked, maybe it didn't. We're moving on. So just a lot of aspects of this game, soundtrack, but then other areas too, do feel like it was pulled out of some sort of stock database of assets that Cygames has on hand. With the gameplay, I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5. And so the reason for this is because there are a wide variety of features, from quest missions to story episodes to guilds, and then also Like, a lot of quality of life stuff was present in this game that I really enjoyed. As an example of that, when you are farming for equipment for your characters, there's actually a button in the game that will allow you to go directly to the dungeon that will get you that piece of equipment that you need. And then when you're completed with that dungeon, you are instantly back on the screen where you can equip it and rank up your girls. And I think that that's delightful. I've seen stuff similar to that in other games, but it is not present in all of these games. So I do think that when it's there, it's worth commenting on. With the story, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. I think that it's decent. There is a story there for people who are interested in it. One of the things that I don't like about it is how disconnected it is from the actual gameplay. Not only is it physically separated like on the screens, like you have your quest menu and then you also have the story menu, but then what's happening in the story doesn't necessarily relate to what you're doing in the quests. It's very disjointed to me. But beyond that, I actually don't think that it's a very good story. Where it shines is it gives you a lot of opportunities to connect with your waifus. You have a lot of little cutscenes with them. You have a lot of moments where you get to see their personality or you get to see them in combat or whatever the case may be. I think it does showcase them from a waifu perspective, but narratively, I don't think it's a very strong narrative and I don't think it's a very engaging one. So for that reason, giving it a 3 out of 5. For the art style, I was a little bit torn on this one. I am going to give it a 4 out of 5. I think that overall it's above average in its execution. You have a lot of interesting anime designs, a lot of funky little chibi designs, but what I really like is like in combat, the way that they transition between using your special attacks, the character animations, into the actual animated sequences, and then also the animated sequences in the episodes and stuff. It's good. And the way that they've packaged it all together overall is really good. So I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. There are a lot of the anime girls, like for example, when you're going through the character screen and I'm looking at the different character options, all of those pictures look like they're taken out of a stock database to me. A lot of them don't really seem to have a lot of character or personality. Even if they're like detailed and technically great images, they don't necessarily feel like they're a part of this game, part of one cohesive art vision. It just seems like they took really great anime stock art and then inserted it into where they needed a character to be. And then the last thing in our rating system we're going to talk about is the cash shop, which I'm giving a 4 out of 5. At no point did I feel like this game pushed me into the cash shop. It seems to be very free to play friendly. Even from what I was reading on the Reddit for this game, a lot of people talk about how free to play friendly it is. You are able to earn a lot of rewards in the game itself. And then a lot of people report that to stay competitive in the PvP aspects of the game, you don't necessarily need to be spending a lot of your hard-earned real dollars. When I was looking through the cash shop, I wasn't really impressed by the breadth of stuff in there, but also the pricing doesn't seem to be very egregious either. Most of the stuff is pretty affordable. There are some more expensive options in there, but certainly nothing like I've seen in other games. Much like I've done in past videos, I am going to share a review on this game. This is from the Google Play Store from Samuel Kai. Precony is a very casual game. My daily experience ranges from playing for 5 minutes to an hour. Many of the high rarity units can be farmed, although the amount that can be farmed is time gated. You could get a lot of them by playing diligently for about a month. The core game is auto-battling, while activating skills in the depth is in team building for fights. The story, dungeon, clan battles, etc. have different innate strategies. Story and characters feel kind of generic and fluffy, and they gave it a 4 out of 5. So in a lot of ways, I feel like that kind of summarizes what my thoughts on the game were, and they still kind of put a positive spin on it. All that being said, let's go ahead and run through our scores here, because I think even though I had some negative feedback, I feel like where this game lands is actually very fair. So music, 4 out of 5, gameplay, 4 out of 5, story, 3 out of 5, art style, 4 out of 5, and cash shop, 4 out of 5. So this brings our game to a grand total of 72% or a C-. So with that in mind, it is actually very on par with games like Tales of Crestoria and Knights Chronicles. I'd actually say this game is better than Summoner's War. So all things considered, the breakdown of where it lands, I still think is very fair for this game. It's not for me, but if you like those waifu collector type games, you know, this could very much be for you. I would actually be interested in maybe watching the anime and seeing what I think about the anime of the game separate from the mobile game experience, because the animations are so good. It does seem like there's something there that can be expanded upon, even if it's not delivered in a way that I'm enjoying in a game format. That all being said, next week we're going to be checking out the game Dragon Quest of the Stars. I'm kind of looking forward to this one because I'm a big Dragon Quest fan, so I hope they do it justice. And I hope to see you next week too. So thank you so much for watching along today, and until next time, this is Pretty Guardian, logging out.